Hey guys, kembali lagi di podcast Dejet, podcastnya orang-orang Dota di Indonesia. Game yang kata komunitas pesimis di Indonesia udah mati, tapi padahal masih rame-rame aja sih sebenarnya. Dan bahkan Indonesia sendiri udah punya wakilnya di dunia internasional di 2 tahun terakhir, baik tim maupun organisasi. Daripada lama-lama dengerin intro, mendingan kita langsung ketemu aja sama bintang tamu kita di episode kali ini.
You just back from I Am Geprek?
That's right. The boys finished a decent day of scrims, just 2 sets for today, and we just went out to eat together. And yeah, now we're back.
Okay. But by the way, the recording is already started. It's more
Yeah.
light than before. I mean, like, I'm not
Yeah.
gonna take this as a serious conversation because I'm just gonna make this conversation as a fun conversation between you and me to share a little bit about the preparation of AG, and I don't know, you guys finally doing a tournament outside the DPC after a long time that I remember, which is the miso soup, and then
Yeah.
the one that you guys win, which is some kind of betting tournament. Yeah.
Yeah, the 1x bet, 1x
Yeah, the
Asia.
1x bet. Can you
Yeah.
share us the why you guys finally take this as a tournament that you are joining? I mean, previously you guys didn't want to join any kind of tournament beside the DPC, coach.
Yeah, some of these third-party tournaments are kind of notorious in this region for a lot of the 322s and other scripting or like map hacking issues. There's obviously the big explosive drama of this year at the start where VT faded and his boys kind of did a account swapping, right? And that's actually a very rampant thing in China, not only in C. So a lot of these Moon Studio tournaments, for example, and it's not specifically their fault or anything, but anytime people see an opportunity to abuse an exploit, because these are more small scale third party tournaments that Valve is not really going to keep their eyes on. There's a lot of, underground, underground dealings going on here and there. And yeah, I have reasons to believe that from our history in these tournaments as well, that it's not exactly fair play. There's a lot of foul play happening. So yeah, we generally tend to avoid that because I mean, you lose to these guys, whether they're Smurfs or possibly even hackers or something like that, or receiving information from the outside. It compromises the integrity of the game. But as players and teams, we kind of just look at our own mistakes and look at our losses, and it'll demoralize you as opposed to helping you improve. Um, so yeah, we didn't really find the value in it before, but we've also been out of action for a very long time because of Riyadh Masters, and we obviously weren't there. So yeah, I thought it was a decent time to kind of just fit in this tournament where it was
Okay.
available.
Okay. So you guys take this as a warm up before
Yeah,
the TI qualifier that gonna be happens in the 27th of August.
correct. Yeah, starts on 27th.
27, and it's gonna be a double elimination right away. Not there is no group stage for AB, and also there is no open qualifier. It's quite different this year, with the format of the TI qualifiers. What's on your thought about the format first?
Um, I think the format is fine. I think that in the previous years, it wasn't clear if it was after second season of DPC that they took the Division One teams there, or they took the DPC points. Like the top 8 from the DPC rankings in the region is what got invited to the upper qualifiers. But it's pretty clear now they go by the DPC rankings and the DPC points. So obviously we find ourselves for the first time ever in the upper bracket of this TI qualifier, which is a very big plus. Um, Playing with one life is extremely stressful, and I think I think I would I would say it's pretty reliably accurate that like usually the upper bracket teams are the ones that make it to the I with this. Because usually they tend to be stronger. That's how they got the DPC points throughout the year. But also the two life thing is, one life it's easy to choke, get one series and then, kind of get out of it completely. So 2 lives is very, very positive. So yeah, I think the format is pretty standard. Dota is very used to the double elimination brackets as a whole, and I think it's quite fair if they use the DPC points distribution to see who should stay starting from the upper bracket and who starts in the lower bracket.
Okay. So it's a big plus, like you said, about the DPC. Sorry, about the TI qualifier this year, and then you guys playing on the upper bracket. You guys, have a not just only having a one life in the tournament, but if
Hmm.
you messed up on the first match against, I do remember you guys will be facing. Hold
Blacklist,
on. Uh,
Blacklist rivalry.
oh yeah, Blacklist. I'm sorry,
Hmm.
Blacklist. Teams that I don't know. Some people say this team is not gonna be going anywhere around just only in Southeast Asia. But somehow, at the end of the last season DPC, they show the power of this team, how it should be. What do you think about your first opponent, which is the Blacklist International here, as your first opponent, coach?
I think I think Blacklist when they were first formed, they were kind of like touted as the C, not really C, but like Filipino all-star team, right? Because they got the five Pinoy team going on there.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously a lot of big names, Cuckoo, Carl. I got a lot of respect for Carl personally. And then they towards the end they made the swap. Cuckoo to was it Cuckoo to off lane? He started off lane, then he became
Mm-hmm.
five, right? And then AU
Became
was
five,
removed, and
I
then
guess.
now they brought in, yeah, and then they brought in KP, and now they switched their coach from Ninja Boogie to Adam 343. Also, I got a lot of respect for
And
both
also
of them.
Cypher as a second
Yeah,
analyst. I don't know what the role is.
yeah, Zephyr as a backup coach. I think that whole backup coach thing is gonna be pretty tough. I feel like seven people working together, five players, two coaches. In my head, off the top of my head, that's too many cooks in the kitchen. That's gonna be too many ideas to try and execute right away. But I mean, Zephyr's a smart guy, and he's a fellow Indonesian to my own team, right? So they know what he's about. Um, I think this Blacklist team is strong. I think they kind of underperformed the first two seasons. I think that second season was a real deal breaker for them. They I think they realistically should have qualified for maybe two majors this year, based on like I guess like I don't know, star power, name power, whatever. But obviously Dota's not that simple.
Mm-hmm.
Um, sorry, have a bit of a cold.
It's okay.
But
It's okay. It's okay. Are
yeah.
you okay to continue this?
Oh no, no, I'm absolutely fine. It's just a
Okay.
little bit
Okay.
annoying. That's it.
It's okay. It's
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Um, I think this Blacklist team, with KP actually really found a nice groove last season. That's why they were able to make the Bali major. Obviously, the Southeast Asia major flare up kind of helped them, but Um, I think this. I mean, I coached KP before, and I think he's a brilliant player who really excels with the right guidance. And I think the patch at the start of at the yeah, at the start of that patch in the previous one, I
Mm-hmm.
think they found a really good groove with him playing like these Bat Riders and the Doombringers off lane with the Octarine core rush. That was kind of like the big thing last patch before all the Vanguard nerfs and stuff, right? So they found a lot of success there, but I'm not too sure which direction they're going to go now with their two new additional coaches. I feel like that team has switched around a lot of things, and it's really too early to tell how it's going to go.
Mm-hmm.
You might have the honeymoon effect of having new guys coming in and just completely showing you some new things that you weren't expecting, or like they might
Mm-hmm.
really, gel really well together. I can't tell you for sure. There are opponents, so I have to respect them regardless. But I do think we will be more than adequately prepared. I think our team actually is starting to peak, if I have to be honest. I think we're starting to get to a really nice rhythm here, coming out of scrims. Very successful recently. We just came out of a scrim against Azure, who is playing tomorrow. Their DPC qualifiers,
Yes, they
and
start
yeah,
earlier than us. Yeah.
yeah, and we had a fantastic showing against them, among other teams that we have played recently. So
Okay.
I'm personally ready. I think we're still all exploring both blacklists. All the other teams are still probably exploring this patch. It's still kind of fresh and new.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, for the most part, I think we'll be very adequately prepared for them.
Okay. Because, okay. Because you said you are quite ready about this qualifier, and then also the teams looks like having a new flame inside of them. Already finished on the first position on the 1xBet tournament, and also third position on the um,
Moon
Moon
Studio,
Studio. Yeah, Moon Studio.
yeah,
You guys finished on
which
the third,
wasn't too good.
which wasn't too good
Yeah,
because I
yeah,
saw the match. It's quite stumping. When you guys lose
yeah,
on the Holy Grail, you guys
yeah.
finish game number one with 25 minutes, and then you guys somehow trying to figure it out what is happening on the game one and game two, but somehow you still lost on the game two. What's the different mentality or maybe approach of this tournament, coach? I mean, how does the Moon Studio have to be finished on the third place, and how can you guys finish on the One Explorer tournament as a first champion? I mean, what's the difference? Is it the team that competing inside the tournament quite different, or maybe on a different level, or you guys finally able to find out this is the best lineup that we wants to run on the DPC sorry, not DPC qualifier, the international qualifier, coach.
Yeah. That first tournament was, I think it was a product of us just not being practiced. We came in and started our TI boot camp through that tournament. Basically, we didn't actually have any scrims. Those games that were publicized were actually our scrims. So if you see our
Okay.
losses, we basically got 4-0, 2-0 by Holy Grail and 2-0 by MEG. We're completely out of it.
Exactly.
Um, and I think that's one of the reasons why I wanted to play this tournament is because sometimes when teams practice like 2, 3 weeks, a little bit distance away from the tournament itself, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of hard to like try your absolute best. You know what I mean? Because you know, like 3 weeks before your tournament, you're not gonna really play all the best stuff, right? You're still learning, you're still thinking, you're still kind of trying things out. So you can kind of give yourself this safety net and a little bit of this excuse to not really go full throttle, not really push yourself too much, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when you play televised matches, when you play official matches for money, especially, I think those kind of push you to try a little bit harder,
Mm-hmm.
even if it's not like, TI finals or TI qualifiers or whatever, right? So I thought playing this tournament this time around was a good idea, which obviously got us kind of I mean, we kind of got slapped quite hard by the MAG and the Holy Grail.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that again, it was an important wake up call, right? That's
Yep.
after that series, I was finally able to have the talk like, okay, now you see, guys, look at us where we are. We have a long way to go. Let's not slack around. Let's win the next one, and let's go straight into TI qualifiers with a gaze.
Yep.
Just stare our opponents right down, be strong, and that's what we did. We lost Moon Studio, we went straight into scrims after that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think we were much better practice, much better ready. We were in full TI practice mode, and as you can see, the result is that I don't want to say flying color victory, but I think it was pretty solid,
Yep.
and yeah, I think we're on the right trajectory to having a good qualifier run.
Because the comments that I saw on the live streaming when AG playing on both tournament is quite different. When you guys get beaten on the Moon Studio, is quite,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
the
gonna be negative. It's gonna be like we're
yeah,
three
it's,
two
it's
two
gonna
ing and
it's
stuff like
really
that.
really
Yeah.
negative. They said that Army Genesis is not gonna be qualified, not even gonna win a single match in the qualifier of the international. But when you guys win, stomping the opponent on the one explore, which is you guys beat Spawn on the semifinal, and then you guys beat
Mhm.
Vision on the grand final, which is the time that you guys consume is just around 24 minutes. For four matches that you
The
guys
average of the
did.
four
The
games.
average,
Yeah.
yeah, the average is just
Yeah.
24 minutes. Just only one match, which is the game one against Spawn, it's cost 40 minutes. It's quite impressive in terms of the way you guys finish the game. I mean, it's like you guys finally able to figure it out how to finish this game. Because if we take a look back on the what is happening on the last DPC, you guys completely different. I'm sorry to say this, coach, but you guys completely different. I mean, in the negative way, if we look at back on the last DPC, but if we look at what is the result right now, it's quite amazing. I mean, you guys finally able to find out what is the really problem inside the team, in terms of maybe the mechanic, or maybe the way you guys adapt with the patch. Because there is correct me if I'm wrong, there is a patch that's happening when you guys did this tournament or play in this tournament, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so how you guys adapt that? Because maybe for me, as a casual player that just enjoy watching Dota and also create a content like this, it's not that really significant. How about in your perspective, coach?
Yeah. So obviously for us it's a lot more significant. I think the even though the patch did drop mid tournament for one of them, I think the biggest difference if you want to look at Moon Studio versus the IHC,
Mm-hmm.
sorry, not IHC, the one XBet.
One expect.
The biggest difference once again is that for Moon Studio, even if there was a new patch, we were all just coming into boot camp again, kind of. We were
Mm-hmm.
already physically here, but we weren't practicing, right? So we went into the first
Oh,
game, no discussion, absolutely nothing, right? Where I kind of just gave the strategy that I thought could be decent based on Rehab Masters. We didn't really prepare or plan for anything. We went in completely blind. And again, I think the results is really not surprising, at least from our end, because we
okay.
know how little we were practiced. But yeah, for the other tournament, obviously, even before the patch dropped, we were having discussions, we were already practicing. So I think that's just I think it's just a logical sequence of events is that even if it's a good team, if they're not practiced, they can get caught with their pants down. And I don't really know how good we are, but I think in perspective and context of the teams that were playing in those two tournaments specifically,
Mm-hmm.
I do think we are one of the only Division One teams there, one of them, one of the
Mm-hmm.
few.
Yes,
So I think it
correct.
was expected that we're gonna generally do well, like regardless, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So and yeah, that's why we're here, first place in the last one.
Okay, okay. So yeah, it's actually quite surprising if you guys did not win that tournament because on paper you guys supposed to be beat all of them on the 1x1. Uh-huh. And
Yeah,
yeah, I'm not gonna continue this conversation with what is the target of the qualifier. Of course, everyone that gonna compete in this qualifier for the international wants to go to the international because there's only one ticket, right? There's only one
right.
team that
For
gonna be
Southeast
able
Asia.
for Southeast Asia, exactly for Southeast Asia. And my point, my next question will be, beside blacklist that you think you guys correct me if I'm wrong that you said this or not because I do remember that between Army Genesis and also Blacklist International for the first match tomorrow on for the qualifiers,
Hmm.
um, I think you guys still on the upper hand. But yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. Or with the result later on after this podcast published, and also the result may be different. But I
Yeah.
do believe in my beloved team Army Genesis. But my question is, who is the really the gatekeeper of the Southeast Asia with the team that gonna be competing on the one ticket that available for Southeast Asia, coach?
Uh, well, I can tell you from my perspective who's gonna be kind of a hard run for us.
Mm-hmm.
I think from my perspective, I think we're going to have a challenging series. If I had to choose two teams, I think the challenging teams for us would be Execration and Bleed. Those are the
Okay,
two teams.
okay.
Yeah. My reasoning for that is Execration actually was kind of pivotal in denying us two successful majors. In the first major, they killed us in the tiebreaker in game three. I still remember it. That
Exactly.
game will haunt me for the rest of my life. Uh, Bob is Bob is a very well-known comeback player.
Uh
He's
huh.
known to kind of maybe tilt in pubs, but as a competitive player, it's like one of those like Quinn type of guys, like they don't really put out their best effort in pubs, but when it like when it's game time, they'll show up. These are reliable
Exactly.
players. They're kind of undervalued in the same way. So yeah, they got guys like this, and fortunately for us, and I still remember that game three of that tiebreaker where Bob was playing some voice spirit that had 2K net worth at 12
Mm-hmm.
minutes. He had like absolutely no game, right? And we have three melee cores against the Morta without having his halberd, and I still remember how we lost that game, and like it'll haunt me for the rest of my career. Because that was the major game for us, right? First major
Yes.
experience for all five of these guys would have been pretty huge. Um, so I think execution based on that as well as our previous DPC season where they still beat us in game three anyway, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I think they just have a history of knocking us out in third game in the BO3 of the big matches.
Exactly.
So I think that's a hurdle that like if there's ever a time to climb that hurdle, it has to be now, right? TI qualifiers. But it also happens to be the highest moment of pressure. And I'm just hoping that I can prepare my guys so that we're ready for that pressure no matter where it comes from. So execution is one. I
Okay.
also think that
How about bleed?
they're
Why
also
why why
very
bleed,
yeah.
coach?
Uh, I don't want to disrespect Bleed too much. I think Bleed is kind of like what I call like a cookie cutter team. They're like similar to what Fnatic would have wanted to be, I think, in the previous iteration. They're like an org that kind of came in
Ah.
with a lot of money and kind of handpicked and selected some of the best players that they thought free agents in the market. Um, every team is always looking to make like a super team, something like that, right? They just take the
Mm-hmm.
five best players. Elephant, for example, these teams don't always find success after the initial momentum because team dynamics are so much more than that. And I think in the last season, they had that situation where they took Misery as their new coach. And I think I have a lot of respect for Misery. I think he's a very smart guy, very cerebral mind, and a great player, honestly, if he still wanted to compete. So I think he helped them a lot there in their last season run on Bleed. Obviously, DJ and Ice, I got a lot of respect for those veterans as well.
Mm-hmm.
Tubu is a fellow Korean, and Jackie, I think, I think Jackie, if I'm sure everybody remembers that Morphling Minds play by FY, right? That kind of like kicked him out of the
Exactly.
major there, right?
Yep.
I think I think Jackie is a player that probably depends a lot on confidence, and I kind of get the feeling that he's not really getting the bromance love that he needs to get from that team. So I like all of these are actually kind of like weird sources of weaknesses or points that I think I can attack.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they are good players and they have those names for a reason, right? They're
Yep.
very high value individual players. They're very high individually skilled. They have high MMR, great experience in the scene. And I think Bleed will generally be tough because I think their coach is a very smart individual.
Okay. Okay. So normally people will ask the question, what position that you guys think you guys will be finished in this qualifier. Everyone will be saying, I want to aim for the first position to get the ticket. But if
Hmm.
I reverse the question, if you guys fail this tournament, this qualifier,
If we
on what,
fail,
yeah, on what position you guys think you guys will be finished? I mean, like, is
I
it
think
gonna be
if we
still on the
fail,
third, sorry, if it is it gonna be still on the top three, or maybe you guys gonna be out on the lower bracket on the round two, or maybe on the round, yeah, round two maybe, I don't know.
um, this is my, I can't give you the exact placement, but this is my opinion. I think that if we make it to top three, we're gonna make it all the way to top one. So if we get eliminated, I think it would be way below, honestly, like below top six even. I think it
Okay.
would be due to I think it'd be due to a crumbling to the pressure like we did in the past. Um, I think it would be due to you can call it lack of experience. But I don't necessarily think it's going to be a lack of experience per se. I think it really will come down to just like in the most important moments, are we going to be able to keep our composure and help each other keep our composure? And I think when that gets lost, I think the run itself is done. So like let's say we lose like upper bracket second series or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I I think that climb from like the second series loss all the way to the finals is a very, very difficult road. But if
Mm-hmm.
we somehow make it to like lower bracket semis or something like that, I definitely think there's a shot to just go all the way. So
Okay.
I think if we make it, we would either make it to semis or basically just not make it anywhere close. That's how I see
Okay.
this.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the first game is really matter, yeah, coach.
Oh yeah, every obviously every series is very, very important.
Okay.
I don't want to. I've already looked at our brackets. I think among the MAG's Division Two, right? Among the
Yes,
Division
MAG.
Two teams or teams that are among the teams that are starting in the lower bracket, I think MAG is definitely one of the stronger teams out there. And if
Mm-hmm.
we do lose the first series, I think we're going to go straight up against MAG. They
Exactly.
got some respectable players on that roster, and again, I do think they're one of the strongest Division Two teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it's something I want to avoid if possible. Um, but yeah, I mean, we're practicing day in, day out right now. We got three sets of scrims most of these days coming up, and
Mm-hmm.
my guys are grinding even behind me right now as we speak. So I remain very optimistic for our chances this qualifier.
Okay. Okay, I think it's quite clear about the preparation. You guys really take this as a do or die. I don't know
This is
what is
life or
gonna,
death. Yeah,
yeah, life or
it's
death.
life or death. Yeah.
It's kind of something that everyone wants to going as a Dota 2 player, going for the international, and somehow FAV beat the hammer to us. Just one ticket, guys. Whoever can get it. And this
Yeah.
is the bracket.
Yeah, it's a little sad. I think, you know, in terms of competitiveness, I definitely feel like I've worked in basically every region except China, and I think that in terms of competitiveness, like how even the level of competition is,
Hmm.
the C region is really up there. You know, I feel like China and C have the most even levels of competition. There's a
Hmm.
lot of disparity within the other regions. Like in NA, you know,
Yep.
you're always gonna know who's like the top two, top three. In
Exactly.
Europe, Europe is going to be a battle for like the third and fourth slot, assuming that Diamond Gladiators and Team Liquid kind of, you know, punch their ticket very stably.
Yep.
So yeah, it's like the other regions have this degree of competitiveness where you really don't know who's actually going to come out on top. In C, I think it's basically established now that Talon is kind of the kings at the top. They're the new Fnatic.
Hmm.
And the rest are kind of fighting for their second or third slot. But yeah, like as we know, see internationally, you know, Execration went to the majors three times, got knocked out of the group stages three times, right? Talon got knocked out of one, top three in the first. And obviously top three at Riyadh, really, really amazing team. And what do you call it? Like Blacklist Bleed, again, they kind of bombed out of the last majors as well. So C showing internationally this year
Yep.
really has been poor. And I think honestly, even if there was like just a little bit better performance in the majors from C, just a little bit, you know, I think Valve would have really considered that second slot for towards C because C
Yep.
is one of the biggest regions in the world for Dota, right? I mean, after
Yep.
Europe, C is the second biggest by far, and I think that um, they're a business that wants to market the game continuously, right? And they want to
Yep.
support the market as well. But unfortunately, I think there's just no justification for C to have a second slot this time based on the international performances. So it's
Okay.
very sad, but we live with what we get.
Yep, we live what we get. And yep, I think just good luck to the open qualifier, coach. I wish nothing but good luck. Please maintain the pressure, because I think the pressure still be the how to call it, yeah, the biggest enemy of yours and also your teams when it's come to the
Hmm.
do or die match and everything. You guys quite crumble to not just only to beat the opponent right in front of you, but also to beat the pressure for the players. I mean, like
Hmm.
that. It's really shown on the player style to play, and also the movement. It's quite like playing so on the edge of nerves. You guys playing like really really careful, not trying to show
Yeah,
what his
yeah,
AG is, something like that,
yeah.
coach.
I have a description for that phenomenon, right? It's like
What is
people call
it?
it choking, crumbling to pressure. I've coached so many different teams in this career throughout my career, and I've seen this kind of crumble happen many times. I've also been on teams that beat this crumble a lot, NIP,
Okay,
VGJ Storm, where we defy the odds, beat the
exactly.
top dogs, and actually qualify before everyone else and stuff. So for me, I call it like, sometimes the players are playing with a ghost behind them. You know what I mean? There's no ghost. It's a fabrication of your mind. You create that man in the basement, you create that ghost that's always chasing you, right? In these high pressure
Understand.
games, what happens is like a great player who normally destroys these pubs, for example, might suddenly play a competitive game and they feel that every single spell on the enemy's heroes, like the enemy has a phoenix and he can stop my initiation because he can spirit me. Like they fear all of these like irrational tools that normally they wouldn't care about because of this pressure. And that's what I call
Okay.
the ghost. The ghost,
Okay.
it's not actually pressure, but it exists now because your mind has created it. And I think the
Wow.
best players generally they use their experience because they realize, you know what, my heroes damage numbers don't change, my cooldowns don't change. I know this game. I trust myself. I trust my team. They power through that pressure, right? They beat the
Yep.
ghost. It doesn't exist, and
Okay.
that's what I'm trying to do here.
All right. All right. Good. 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 Again, good luck. Yeah, I'll see you. What is happening after the TI? I don't know what's gonna happening. Even though people know, I'm also working for Army Genesis on the background, but I really don't
Hmm.
know what is gonna be happening after the TI. I mean, like who's gonna be staying, because people gonna be thinking about, this team is already disqualified for, sorry, not disqualified, already out from the tournament of the qualifier. It's gonna be a big massive replacement, or maybe reshuffle and everything. I really don't know what is happening. So just do your best, guys, about this tournament, and please, you guys already put it there and the behind. We will be there. This
One
is your
day,
time. One day,
yeah,
one day, and that one day will be next week. Okay, will be
hopefully,
next
yeah.
week. Hopefully. Okay. Thank you, coach, for your time, and see you next time. Bye bye.
Thanks, Dejet. Take care.
Bye bye.